immigration. Before the break, you saw our conversation with his new campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway, and her answer to questions about whether he's making a break from what he campaigned on in the primary. To that point, Donald Trump earlier on said, 11 million people got to leave, the good ones can come back, and he talked about a deportation force. We're not going to hear that anymore from Donald Trump. He is no longer saying 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country, illegal immigrants in this country, all have to leave. They're going to be removed.
We're going to look at what he said tonight with respect to that, and I'll repeat that because he said that he's not flip-flopping on immigration, and he wants to find
seems like a flip-flop.
A way to execute on hit's principles, Anderson, without hurting people.
A flip-flop is a political criticism. It does seem like a change in policy. Right, it's wisely or not, whatever it may be, it certainly seems like a change in policy.
What I know, too, is that I can't find an issue, I can find very few issues where he and Secretary Clinton are more different. I mean, she's to the left of President on this. She has expressed support for executive orders on this, which basically means as a presidential candidate, she's expressing no interest or will whatsoever to work with the Congress on such a complex issue. This is a complex issue.
I just got to keep asking you this, though, because it is important, and for those supporters of Donald Trump who early on love
people and try to harm them or treat them inhumanely.
Lots to discuss with the panel. Clinton supporters Christine Quinn and Paul Begala, New York Times political correspondent Patrick Healy, Trump supporters Jeffrey Lord and Andre Bauer, conservative Trump critic Tara Setmayer, and CNN legal analyst Paul Callan. Jeff, it does sound like he's changed his position, no? He's no longer saying that 11 million undocumented workers have to leave and the good ones can come back.
Anderson, as I was listening to your conversation with Kellyanne, this reminds me very much of Ronald Reagan, whose underlying philosophy of the Cold War was we win, they lose. Now, he was criticized a lot for not meeting with Soviet leaders, and he cracked at one point, they keep dying on me. But in fact, he didn't, and there was a method to this. Eventually, he did. Was there a change in that sense? Yes. Was there a change in the ultimate policy of saying that in this case with Donald Trump that
he is not saying 11 million people got to leave. He's like, well, we got to do something humanely. The criminals, those convicted of crimes, have to leave.
So he's still saying that then?
Those convicted of crimes, not every 11. Every one of those 11 million people.
But his essential policy of having borders on this country.
Well, yeah, of course. He's not saying we don't have borders. You're not going to answer this question. Andre, does it sound like a change in policy to you?
It does sound like a softening in policy, which I don't have a problem with. Clearly, all of us evolve through life. The more information we get, the more
I'm just wondering how the other folks, the other Republicans who are on those debate stages with him, essentially arguing you can't deport 11 million people, are now thinking like,
I should endorse him tomorrow is what they're thinking.
No.
I'm not sure John Kasich will endorse him yet.
No, look, this is absolutely a flip-flop and change in policy. Donald Trump for the last year plus has to the top based off of his tough stance on immigration, starting with the Mexican rapist comments when he first announced. Other people like Marco Rubio, John Kasich, Jeb Bush, who were excoriated for supporting immigration reform, and they were called all kinds of, pro-amnesty, internal enforcement. All of those things are the same things that all of the guys I just mentioned.
And it's also about tone and language.
Yes.
I mean, throughout the primaries, both in interviews with me, with others, and at his rallies, he would say, deportation force, they got to go, folks. These people got to go. I mean, it was very language, and he feels that he won the primary in part because he was willing to say in very blunt, emotional language what resonated with all of these voters. And tonight, I would 180 degrees different.
I would go even
Kellyanne
further
told you
and say that
saying that it needs to be fair and humane, and we're enforcing the law.
He even used the word softening
this is a new Trump for the next 11 weeks. This is a clear game plan that they have, that Kellyanne Conway has on the new team for the next 11 weeks.
Is this about reaching out to independents and others?
No, this is about Donald Trump being remarkably consistent. He's a con man. Always has been, always will be. Trump Tower was built decades ago, in part by undocumented workers from Poland. The Trump Hotel that's being refurbished, the old post office, 2 or 3 blocks from the White House. Washington Post committed journalists, they went over there. They found lots of undocumented folks working there. This has always been a con for Trump. He no more cares about immigration than the man on the moon. But he conned the far right in the primaries. Now he's trying to con folks in the general. I don't think it's going to work. Okay? I mean, that's why he's trailing. But I don't think it's going to work. The only thing he's been authentic about is being an insult comic from the beginning to the end of this campaign. That won't stop. But this has all been a con for him. He doesn't believe it.
No, he demagogued the issue. Look, he demagogued the issue so that he could gin people up during the primary with very xenophobic language. And in 2012, he complained that Mitt Romney was, quote, too mean-spirited in his immigration policy and commended Democrats for having it right, but just a little variations on the policy because they were kind and now they did it.
Let's get Jeffrey Lord's response.
He was saying a version of this to me 2 years ago, before he was running for president, long before he was running for president. I mean, I am hearing a version.
But Jeffrey, I know you're essentially you're saying he's still tough on immigration. I get you're saying that, but just honestly, if one month you say 11 million people got to leave, the good ones come back, and now you're not saying they got to leave anymore.
And can I?
Isn't that is a change?
And I think.
But yes, yes,
yes. Yes. Okay.
Oh my God!
Wait. It's a change, but it's not a change in the end game.
Yeah, I still want to be tough on immigration.
He still says build the wall.
Yes, he still says build the wall. For now.
Right.
Yes, he does.
How is there not an etch-a-sketch element to this? I mean, the degree to which he said what he needed to do to win the primary, and now he's hoping that he can say what he needs to do to win in the suburbs.
And it's all about
Pennsylvania.
It's all about Donald Trump saying whatever he needs to say at whatever moment fit his own game.
Well, but which by the way, the Trump campaign will quickly say Hillary Clinton.
But
exactly.
we're talking about Donald Trump right now.
We all do that in life. But to get back to Jeffrey's point, this is like Ronald Reagan, not changing how he negotiates with the communists. It's like Ronald Reagan joining the Communist Party.
Right.
I mean, this is nuts. This is what he launched his campaign on. I think very racist announcement speech, calling Mexican immigrants rapists and murderers. Some are good people, he said. But this has been the heart of his campaign. Now he thinks 76 days from the election, he's going to change. Have the facts changed? Well, no, of course not. The politics have. It's the only plausible explanation.
Under that argument, why didn't they do that the day after the primary? If that was the case, if the end game was just to appeal to a new...
Well, because they were up in the polls and now...
Right, exactly.
And this is the difference. 2 words. Kellyanne Conway. Kellyanne knows this issue well. She was one of the 10-plus pollsters who participated in a Mark Zuckerberg survey during 2014 for immigration reform, because Mark Zuckerberg was a big proponent of immigration reform, and Republicans were trying to figure out what to do, and Kellyanne was part of that. And in a memo that she co-authored, she said that the majority of the American people agree with a pathway to legalization of some sort, and that 3 and 4 Tea Party members did not see that immigration reform as amnesty, and also that it would benefit the Republicans with swing voters, not only in 2014, but also in the next election. So she understands the politics behind this issue. So believe me, I know Kellyanne has talked to him and said, you've got to soften on this issue because it doesn't resonate any other way. 71% of the American people believe in a path legalization. 80+% of Republicans believed in that, and she co-authored that survey.
Tara, it's so important, though. It's so important to note that today Donald Trump, is saying Kellyanne Conway's language.
Right.
But remember, tonight a rally.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Rally in Tampa.
No doubt about it.
Tomorrow night a rally in Jackson, Mississippi.
Right. Yes.
Can Donald Trump control himself to stay on message during a 60-minute rally and not lapse into one of those clauses, one of those subclauses?
Let Jeffrey respond.
I was just...